And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Republican presidential debate.
The third Republican presidential primary debate saw 5 candidates square off on stage in Miami. Governor Ron DeSantis, former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, Senator Tim Scott, and former Governor Christie fielded questions for 2 hours. Here's what you need to know. Former President Donald Trump, the faraway frontrunner for the GOP nomination, chose not to participate in the night's affairs while holding his own counter-programming.
So it's 61% for your favorite president, me, and 10% for Ron DeSanctimonious, and 7% for Bird Brain. You know Bird Brain? I think they're at a debate tonight. Nobody's talking about it.
But the former president remained a topic of conversation. To open and later close, candidates were asked to make the case why they, and not Trump, should earn the Republican nomination.
You know, everybody wants to talk about President Trump. Well, I can talk about President Trump. I can tell you that I think he was the right president at the right time. I don't think he's the right president now.
Ramaswamy, however, declined to answer the question, instead choosing to attack Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel for losses in every election since gaining her position.
And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you.
And he went after the moderators for pushing the Trump-Russia hoax.
Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
Sorry. This is how we get our country back.
DeSantis knocked Trump for skipping out on his third debate this cycle and failing to make good on his campaign promises while in office.
He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing.
Still, Trump leads his challengers by more than 40 points in Real Clear Politics polling, and time is running out for a serious challenger to emerge before the Iowa caucuses on January 15th of next year. In a night of prepared answers, the biggest fireworks by far came from a series of tense exchanges from Ramaswamy and Haley. In 2 separate occasions, Ramaswamy sought to mock Haley. First, he looped her into a supremely internet-y scandal surrounding DeSantis.
Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
Yes, I'd first like to say they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them.
However, a later question on TikTok, Ramaswamy invoked Haley's 25-year-old daughter to draw a distinction between his heavy campaigning on the platform and the other candidate's disapproval of the Chinese-backed social media app.
In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Your adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer.
Speaking of TikTok, China was clearly the top issue on each candidate's mind. Though moderators asked about a bevy of international topics, including the ongoing wars in Israel and Ukraine, candidates managed to weave their staunch opposition to Beijing's creeping economic warfare and very public military buildup into a bulk of their answers. Asked about the economy, several pointed to reversing the trade and manufacturing imbalance with China. When it came to immigration, multiple candidates discussed the need to disrupt fentanyl components from being shipped from China to Mexico. In fact, every candidate sought to position China as the top global threat to the United States' national and economic security. A series of questions on abortion drew a wedge between candidates and showed the GOP appears to be, at least politically, as divided on the issue as the rest of the country. Democrats, pundits, and even Trump himself have consistently pointed to the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade as a top motivator for voters across the political spectrum. The results of both 2023 and the 2022 midterm elections would seem to back that claim and lend credence to the idea President Joe Biden could survive a Republican challenger, despite his low approval numbers on the economy and international affairs. Haley urged her fellow candidates to be honest with voters about the extreme unlikelihood of passing any type of federal abortion ban. Her closing remarks on the issue drew arguably, and perhaps surprisingly, the loudest applause moment of the night.
We haven't had 60 Senate votes in over 100 years. We might have 45 pro-life senators. So no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president can ban these state laws. So let's find consensus. Let's agree on how we can ban late-term abortions. Let's make sure we encourage adoptions and good quality adoptions. Let's make sure we make contraception accessible. Let's make sure that none of these state laws put a woman in jail or give her the death penalty for getting an abortion. Let's focus on how to save as many babies as we can and support as many moms as we can and stop the judgment. We don't need to divide America over this issue anymore.
Thank you, Ambassador. Senator